Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a bunch of different roofs in Adopt Me. So we're going to start with normal roofs, and then the second part of the video is going to be tower roofs. First, we're starting with this shingled roof. Here I have a roof base. We're going to be using this for all of our non-tower roofs, and I basically just made it out of 2 double wall panels, but you can also make it out of floor panels. For this shingle roof, the only item you're going to need for this one is discs. I would recommend going with normal ones rather than large ones. What you want to do is resize this disc to be smaller, and you can make it as small as you want. So I would recommend making it pretty small because then your roof will look more detailed. And then you want to clone it and put the cloned one next to the first one. And then you want to keep doing that and keep putting discs next to each other until you have a row of discs on the bottom like this. Then clone this row of discs and move it up a little bit like this. And then you just want to rotate it a tiny bit. So I'm going into the 1/10 grid for this, and then just go back to the 1/2 grid and then move it to the side a little bit so it's kind of in between the discs from the first row. So make sure you keep this row selected though, because you're gonna need to clone this a lot more times. So basically you just take this row of discs and move it back to where the first one is, and then just keep doing this throughout the whole roof. So you just want to alternate the rows of discs like this so that they look like shingles on your roof. I'm just gonna speed this up while I'm doing it, and then you can also clone a big chunk of them if you want, like this. So they should look a little bit like scales. And this is how my roof is looking. I kind of rotated these discs a little too much, so it's looking really wonky from the side, but I'm gonna fix that. If you accidentally make the same mistake as me, you can just select your entire roof and just rotate it a little bit. Okay, so now I've fixed it, and I'm also just gonna add a top row of discs here. Now I'm just gonna clone this whole row of discs and put it onto the other side. You might not be able to clone yours if your house already has walls and stuff, but you can just make this the same way we made the first side if you can't clone it. Also make sure to put it facing the right direction. So I'm just gonna rotate this, and I think that looks pretty good. So this is how your roof should look. You can also color these shingles different colors if you want. I'm gonna do mine slightly different like this. And here is an example of this roof on an actual house that I made, so you can see that it looks pretty good. So the cost of this roof is going to vary depending on how big your roof is, but for this example roof that I made, the cost of all the discs was $1,330. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do a tiled roof. So I don't really have an example of this, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. So first you have to search up tire. You want to use the long tire wall for your roof, although if you have a really short roof, you could also go with the medium or the short ones. You want to make these really small so that your roof looks really detailed, and then you can also make them whatever color you want. And then basically what you want to do is you want to rotate them like this and then push them into the roof a little bit so they look like tiles, and then just put a bunch of them. So you just want to make sure that you're basically placing them so that they're properly spaced out. You can also do the same thing that we did for the disc roof and just like clone this whole part to make it faster. So this is essentially what it's gonna look like. My example is not the best, but let me just do the other side and then I'll come back. Okay, so basically it's gonna end up looking a little bit like this. I personally feel like these tiled roofs are super good for a lot of different types of houses. This roof will also come in at a bit of a medium price point. The cost of this example roof is $1,472. Okay, next we're gonna do the straw roof, and this roof actually has a secret sauce that I'm gonna be revealing. So the first thing you want to do is cover your roof in dirt mounds. I personally use large dirt mounds, and I just resize them to be way smaller. This is gonna give the roof a little bit of texture, and then you also want to make sure that you're pushing them down a little bit into the roof so that it looks like straw or hay piled onto the roof. And it doesn't matter if this looks perfect or not, since it's supposed to look like straw. And I'm also gonna rotate some of these randomly. I don't know if this is doing anything, but there we go. And then I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you guys the secret sauce, which is botanical pet beds. The straw on this roof is made out of these botanical pet beds, so this is going to be really expensive because one of these costs 320 bucks. So what you want to do is just color the whole thing straw colored, like whatever your straw color is, and then make it however small you want it to be, and then you just want to push it into the roof like this, and then it gives you a realistic straw texture. So I am just going to put these all over the place. It's also better if you layer them to make like a lot of straw on the roof. Yeah, so this is really expensive, but this is kind of the only way that I found to make a realistic straw roof. So basically you can just pile on as many of these as you want, and I also recommend rotating them. But the bonus about using these is that you also get a bunch of free pet beds. I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like with different ambience as well. You can kind of see the vibe that we're getting here, and I think it looks the best in sunset ambience because that's what I have in my build that uses this. Okay, so you can see all the interaction icons right here, and this is what it looks like with the sunset ambience. This is going to run you 16,832 bucks. Next, we're going to be going on to one that is less expensive. Okay, so next we are going to be doing a wood roof. So this roof only uses one item, which is the wooden palette decor, and you can color yours if you want, but I'm just going to keep mine the same color for now. So what you want to do is make this a bit smaller and then put it on the corner of your roof like this, and then you just want to clone them and put them next to each other, so it's kind of similar to how we did our disc roof. Once you have a row of them, it should look like this. You can just clone this row and push them up like this to make more rows. Also, just make sure they're spaced out evenly. So this is how it's currently looking, but let me just do the other side of the roof first. So I'm just gonna clone this whole side and put it on the other side like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna color the roof panels brown too so that they match. I'm also going to rotate a bunch of these panels so that it looks more natural, and I also want to make it look a little bit more run down. So I'm just going to rotate some of these even more, and this is kind of how the finished roof looks. I think it looks pretty decent. Here is a better example of it on one of my actual houses, and the cost of this example roof is 3,000 bucks exactly. Okay, so the next roof we're going to be doing is a brick roof. I don't actually have an example of this, but it's basically just going to be made out of ice walls. So I'm just going to be using the ice wall straight 02 and 03. Also make them smaller. So what you want to do is make sure that the snowballs are facing into the roof so that you don't see them. And then I'm just going to scatter these around, and I'm also going to use two different colors for them. So you kind of just want to scatter these around all over the roof, and you can also turn some of them upside down. So it kind of feels like you're playing Tetris when you're doing it because you have to fit everything together properly. So you can choose if you want this to look more run down like mine is looking, or if you want it to look more proper. So yeah, this is kind of what it's gonna look like a bit. My example is not really the best, and I'm just gonna do these on the other side now. But the good thing about this is that you can kind of just place these wherever you want and it'll look good. Okay, so this is kind of what it's gonna look like, and then you can also push the bricks into the roof more if you want. Like, I'm just gonna show you how that would look, but you could do something like this. Actually, that kind of looks better. This is the last house roof, so now we're gonna move on to tower roofs, but let me just tell you guys how much this example roof costed. Okay, so this is gonna cost you around 542 bucks, which is definitely not too bad. Okay, so for the tower roof examples, these ones are all going to be completely different, so I'm not just going to have one roof that I put textures on. Okay, so I'm going to build the tower roofs over here near this fireplace. The first one is pretty easy and you might be able to guess it, but it's literally just a cone, and this will only cost you 10 bucks. So this is kind of the standard tower roof, and if you're doing one with a texture on it, I would recommend using the large one because it makes the texture look the most detailed. Because let me show you guys a comparison here. So like, as you can see, the texture is more detailed on the large one than the medium one. Actually, let me build a little tower as an example. Let's say this was your tower, you could just literally put a cone on top of it, and like I would recommend making it slightly bigger than the tower so it would look like that. Oh, and also make sure your cone is centered, but you could also use like this one, which I've not made it centered here. This stone texture, you could use other textures, and you can also make the base of your tower textured. Okay, another thing that you can do to make this a little bit more detailed is just add a ring onto the bottom. So if you get a ring like this, put a ring on the bottom of your cone and it would look a little bit like this, and it would just make it slightly more detailed. And then you can also put decorations on top of the cone if you want, like you could put a cross up there or something. But yeah, this is just like the simplest and easiest one. The next one that I have is going to be also fairly easy, tents. So if you get 2 tents, just color the tent one color. And I also think this tower roof works a little bit better on square towers than it does on circular towers. You have one tent like this, and then you take another one and you just rotate it the other way so it covers the opening. This is a pretty good tower roof, but again, it kind of looks better on square towers, but you can kind of see how it looks here. And this is only gonna cost you 28 bucks. The next tower example is also another pretty affordable one. So this one is literally just using a tree. So if you get a small pine tree like this, you can get a really tall and dramatic tower top that looks perfect for like a wizard tower or something. And this is sticking into the ceiling right now, so I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. It is a bit more expensive than the other ones because it does cost 70 bucks. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys how to do 2 different types of shell towers, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's towers made out of shells. So the first one is going to be a flat shell tower, and for this one you're gonna need mounds, so I'm just gonna use large mounds for it. So take a mound and make it a little bit larger than the tower, and then get another one and make it a little bit smaller than the first one and put it on top of the first one so it looks like this. Just keep doing that until you have enough. So I'm gonna do 4 for my tower, and it should look a little bit like this. So this example doesn't really look that good right now, so I'm gonna change the colors of a couple of these so you can see it better. This is kind of what it should look like, and I feel like it's really good for mermaid castles. Like here's an example of mine. Depending on how many mounds you use, it can cost more or less than mine does, but mine costs 24 bucks. But now I'm gonna show you guys how to make a tall shell tower. So for this tower, you're just gonna need spheres. I don't think it matters which spheres you use, so I'm gonna go with medium ones. So start by making one that's a bit bigger than the tower, and then just gradually make them smaller as they go up. So I'm just cloning these and making them smaller and putting them on top of each other like this. This is how my tower is currently looking like, but you can also make your towers slightly different shapes. Like you could make it taller like this, or here's the towers I've used in actual build. The cost for the one that I made is 90 bucks, so not too bad. Okay, now I'm also gonna show you guys how to make a trim on your roof. So for this, you're just gonna need rectangular beams. So basically you can make the trim whatever color you want. I'm gonna make mine a bit darker than the roof, and then I'm gonna resize the beam a little bit smaller. Also, here is an example of it on one of my other houses. You can also use stuff other than beams if you want. Like you can use bricks, but I feel like beams are just the best for this. And just try and make sure that you line everything up properly. So this is kind of how it's gonna look like, and then you can also put trim on the top of the roof if you want. So this is what it looks like now, and then I'm also gonna put some on the top, and I think it will look better this way. And look at how cute that is. It kind of gives it a little bit of a cartoony effect as well. And you can also use beams with different textures for this trim if you want. A cool thing that you can also do with this is you can actually make a glass roof by replacing your normal roof panels with glass panels. So I think that would also be a cool idea if you ever want a glass roof for any of your houses. So the cost of the roof trim is 140 bucks for this sized roof, and then the glass roof is going to cost you the same amount as a normal roof, which is 16 bucks. So yeah, that's all the hacks I have for you guys in this video. I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you want me to do any more build hack or tutorial videos. So these are all the roofs that we made in this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one.